much has changed in the entire world. Let's talk about just the United States. We are seeing so many left turns, right turns, and U-turns. What's going on in the greater Phoenix area, and how have things changed over just the last couple of years? And are these things you should be concerned with? Well, let me tell you, I am going to share with you the top 10 conversations about the Phoenix metro area. Don't go anywhere, because this is all super juicy, good stuff.
This is gonna be good.
All right, let's start off number one with housing. What's going on in our housing market? For 2024, I think it's important that you understand more than ever, we have 3 different markets out here, and rarely do people talk about the different markets, because I think that you're more interested in what's going on in the market for people that are owner occupied, live, work, and play in the greater Phoenix area. The other 2 markets are luxury, which uber luxury right now is strong and has not seen any type of a decline at all. What you might see are price reductions. So, and I've seen this myself, as I see people, they're like, yeah, I know my house is worth $4 million, but I'm going to put it on the market for 4.9. When you start to see it go down from 4.9 to 4 million, obviously that's not everybody's bucket, but you're starting to think that the values are coming down. Now, it's just how luxury works.
If you're not a genius, don't bother.
Number 2 is the tourism, second home, vacation homes. Let me tell you, again, totally different market. And that is also skewing what you're seeing online. We have had a lot of short-term rentals, vacation rentals purchased since COVID, right? In 2020, when the world shut down, by 2021, everyone was talking about how they were just killing it with short-term rentals. Well, that's because people were starting to really use a lot of domestic travel, take advantage of domestic travel, and so there was an influx in that. We are seeing those homes go back on the market. Now, what you are seeing, though, is crazy list price. But that doesn't mean when you see those list prices go down that the market's going down. Again, you got to know what you're looking at, so you just got to give us a call. The greater Phoenix area in 2023 only saw the market go up. So anybody that was hesitating from, again, all those scary things that you found on YouTube, they missed a 6% appreciation, which is moderate in what we're expecting moving forward. Let's hope we don't have the craziness once interest rates go down. In the meantime, this is a fantastic buyer's market in 2024. You are getting cooperative sellers. We are getting seller concessions. We're getting buyers' closing costs covered. We're getting interest rates bought down. The builders are being super flexible as well. And more than ever, we are seeing people okay with living in the suburbs because the deals are plentiful in the greater Phoenix area. Give us a call. We can talk about any price point, any type of a buyer, not just the A paper, if you would, 20% down or all cash buyers. This is the perfect market for the not so perfect buyer. So if you have less than 20% down, we can definitely get you into home. VA buyers, fantastic time to get into homes. Cash buyers, if you're looking at what your returns are in the bank and they're telling people to put it in real estate, now's a really good time to consider negotiating some fantastic deals. Number 2, jobs. The greater Phoenix area is not only been one of the top rated areas in the country where companies are moving here, but they were also ranked number 1 for the highest new wage jobs created throughout the country.
Crazy. Am I? Or am I so sane that you just blew your mind?
We have seen an immense amount of companies either expand or move to the greater Phoenix area, and there is a long list of other employers that are going to be popping on into the greater Phoenix area. You're probably wondering why. Well, let me tell you. The greater Phoenix area is super labor friendly, fantastic tax benefits for employers. They also have a plethora of talented individuals.
Oh, yes. You have a plethora.
The talent pool here in the greater Phoenix area is to be challenged by many. Let me tell you, we are little Silicon Desert. In fact, a lot of VCs are coming here. It's very much like the Bay Area, which is where I'm from. When you are talking about technology, aerospace, we're talking also government contracts, we're talking healthcare, medical. The greater Phoenix area is on every company's radar as far as places to call home. We still, although it's been announced, the Taiwan Semiconductor and LG Energy, those jobs still haven't even opened up because they're still building those campuses. And between those two, we're talking over 12,000 high-paying jobs.
Show me the money.
And again, long-term jobs, we have a lot of stability. Number 3, let's talk about water. Everybody wants to know, are we going to shrivel up and die in the desert? Well, you know what? Who knows what's going to happen over the next 100 years? But let me talk about the water that's happening today. Every single resident in the greater Phoenix area that owns a home has already been assured a 100-year water supply. They already, whoever owns or occupies that home, there is 100 years worth of water already in the reserve waiting for them. The new building permits do require that the water source for selling a property has to come from a combination of 3 different pools. They can no longer just base it on surface water. We are also going to see some of these smaller builders that kind of get in under that radar where they can build 5 or less and they don't have to meet that requirement. Again, because of the climate of the interest rates, those builders have kind of stepped back out of the market. What does this mean? It means we're going to talk next about the weather, but that kind of correlates with the water. We currently only have building permits that can support that 100-year water supply, and the ones that are already built have the same. The average rainfall in the greater Phoenix area, this is hard to believe, the average rainfall is only 8 inches a year. That's not a lot, guys. So you're probably wondering, how do we survive and where do we get our water from? We have some of the healthiest aqueducts underwater, and that supply is relying on the snowfall up north. Again, there's a lot more to what you're going to see in the headlines, or what you have seen in the headlines. The current governor, the new governor, instilled the new requirements of they cannot rely solely on one type of location where the water's coming from. Once that word got out, everybody was like, all right, yeah, that's how we've always kind of been, actually. So water, we're going to be in the good. We just got to learn to use it more wisely. This brings me to number 4, kind of transitioning right into weather. What's happening with weather? And that does directly correlate with the water, right? Because we are in a 20-year drought. Although the drought has been disrupted over the last couple of years. Not only have we seen a lot of water, California and the entire southwestern part of the United States that was once, again, a dry bed, we saw a plentiful of water. That doesn't mean that we're not still short, because you can't make up 20 years in 2 years, but it also doesn't mean that we can just go start using our water. The weather on a global level is completely changing. We saw some of the hottest temperatures across not the country, the world, this last 2023. If you look at the July month of the Phoenix area, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to paint it pretty. I'm going to tell you it was tough. I always take vacation in the July timeframe. There is a way to live in the desert. You either stay inside the house or you get out of Dodge.
Just trying to get out of Dodge right now.
Even though I turned up a lot of water in my yard, I lost a lot of palm trees. Our plants cannot sustain that type of drought either. And the cities, so many of them are offering huge rebates and different types of incentives to get homeowners to convert to what we call xeriscape. There are so many people that move to the greater Phoenix area that say, I gotta have my green, I gotta have my bushes and everything. You can have green with today's modern xeriscape and no grass and not the thirsty plants, which also brings me to our crops. So we will see the weather and the water situation affect 2 demographics in the state. I'm going to say it's more of a state thing. Number 1 is going to be anybody in the farming industry or crops, etc. So we're going to see those farmers move to other parts of the country where it makes more sense, right? Arizona has a lot of land, but does it make sense to grow in a really hot climate where you need to use additional water? No. There's other places. It's not that we're not going to be, the farms are going to be relocating. And at the same time, humans, the housing uses less water than the farms do. So we're actually going to be saving considerable amount of money when we see these farmlands either go away or turn into housing. The other demographic that will be affected by the weather changes undoubtedly is going to be the low income families and people that are already struggling to make ends meet. More specifically, this goes back to housing in that some of the older apartment complexes or older homes that are owned by investors have old AC units and have really poor energy efficiency homes. And so the elderly or low income people are not going to be able to survive in Arizona, just being honest, and they are probably going to relocate to wherever they may have originally come from. And there's also a lot of people that are moving in, with families. We're seeing multi-generational homes. I think that is something that we're going to see actually throughout the country. When you look at where the heat belts are, they're not in Arizona. They're actually hitting places that don't normally experience the heat that we do in the summer. Here's the difference, guys. And I'm not saying 115 is fun, and I'm not saying it's okay for 30 days straight. But here's the thing. Housing is very different. It's built differently than in the Midwest, even in the Northwest. I know a lot of people that do have air conditioning in the Northwest, but I also know a lot that do not. Everyone in the greater Phoenix area has air conditioning. Now, if you don't have new air conditioning, that is definitely a concern and an issue. In the greater Phoenix area, there are steps you can take to alleviate that pain and that misery during the summer.
This is the worst.
Number 5, insurance. I recently spoke with a potential buyer, and they were talking about moving to the greater Phoenix area, or they were also looking at parts of Texas, and they were looking at parts of Florida. One of the things I recommended that they do is not just look at home prices. So many people, think about this, when they buy a house, they're so purchase price driven. When you buy a car, it's monthly cost driven, right? And really, when you're moving somewhere, you want to look at the totality of what it's going to cost to live in that home. And when you look at what some of the insurance rates are in some of these other states, and it's many of them, it's because of the weather. How funny, this is all kind of coming full circle, right? So when you look at just the housing cost in parts of Texas and you compare it to Phoenix, it looks like it's cheaper.
But don't be fooled.
But you actually have higher taxes, higher insurance, and higher utility costs. And so is it overall less expensive? No.
Cousins, honey.
But again, there's different reasons that people are driven to different areas. But more specifically about the greater Phoenix area, look, insurance has affected everyone in the country. I myself saw my homeowner's insurance go from $1,200 a year to $1,800 a year for nothing. No claims, just because of all the other claims elsewhere in the world. Now, I happen to know that somebody just recently bought a multi-million-dollar home in parts of California. Their insurance was $8,000 a year.
No way. Way.
Okay, that's a hard pill to swallow. Car insurance, that's also a little bit different. One of the things I learned recently, everybody's been shopping insurance, and so it's like a conversation at the water cooler, if you would. And one of the things, it has to do with your zip code. Now, I can't speak about anywhere else except for in the greater Phoenix area. And here's a little tidbit. If you buy your home in the Glendale and West area, you are going to have higher insurance, not because of theft, but because of more car accidents. That's actually going to be talked about later in my video, so don't go anywhere. But it's weird. Why are there more car accidents in that city? Number 6, I'm going to talk about something that's taboo. You're not supposed to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about this.
Wait, Master. It might be dangerous.
Politics. Well, I'm not going to really talk about politics, but I'm going to tell you what it's like to live here. So depending on where you're coming from, if you're coming from a blue state, it's going to feel really red here unless you are in a few little microscopic areas. There are some very select areas, mostly in the city of Phoenix, like actually in Phoenix proper. that is going to be mostly where you see and feel the blue life, if you would. Also parts of Tempe. And Tempe is adjacent to the city of Phoenix. The rest of the greater Phoenix area, you are going to feel an abundance of red. And when you go into like Pinal County, it's very red. So depending on where you're coming from, know that our political climate honestly is a very mild, moderate, calm. I would not say it's purple anymore by any means. I think that this presidential election will show. We have to wait a whole year to see where my prediction is, but I believe we are already starting to swing back to a red state, and I just wanted to share that with people. I'll be honest with you, most of the people that are moving to the greater Phoenix area share that same sentiment. There, you said it. I said it. Shame on me.
Killing me, Smalls!
Number 7, let's talk about traffic. This is not a good report, you guys. Traffic here is getting pretty nutty, I have to be honest with you. You definitely want to live within what I call either your bubble or your commute shed. I talk about commute shed on all my videos when I'm talking about different areas, and I really can't emphasize enough how important it is to live within 30-35 minutes of your employment. Now, some people are coming from areas where they're traveling an hour, hour and a half, and they say it's going to be fine. Well, with our added traffic that I have felt over the last couple of years, those 30 to 35 minute commute sheds now are more like 40 to 45. We are seeing massive road construction on the major freeways. We're seeing new off-ramps, we're seeing them widened, we're seeing overpasses. We are seeing some absolute reactionary type of improvements. We in the city of Maricopa have an extra 0.5% city tax that is collected to go to our roadway improvements. It is being spent in a very good place and a very good way. I love how we stay in front of it. Traffic is still not like LA or the 405. Is it the 405 or the 402? It's the 405. Still nothing like that. But for the greater Phoenix area, it's starting to get a little bit of a choking feeling on certain parts of freeways at certain times. So if you are thinking of moving here, we have to talk. Way before you start looking at all the pretty houses online with Zillow and Redfin, you have to give us a call so we can talk about different areas. So I would highly recommend that you give us a call, because when you're relocating, it's not just finding a realtor, it's about finding a relocation specialist. That's me.
We're family now, and I got your back forever. You hear me?
Let's talk about number 8. And I want people to be aware of this because it's a big chunk of our world, and that is tourism. If you are buying in an area that has been kind of earmarked, if you would, tourism, you are going to see exponentially a lot more of life disturbance. We saw Airbnbs in Scottsdale go from 5,000 to 12,000 in a matter of like 2 years. So certain areas that seem more affordable and still getting that Scottsdale address are the ones that are most riddled with Airbnbs and short-term rentals. I caution everybody, if you're buying one or thinking about part-time having one, our previous governor would not allow any of the cities or municipalities set any rules. He just basically said there's no rules. So HOAs can govern their own little neighborhoods, but the cities had no control. Well, the new governor said, no, the cities, you guys can manage your city any way you want. So we are starting to see more and more layers of the short-term rentals. So we're going to see those come on the market. We already have. If you look at a video that I did a little over a year ago, it'll tell you it was going to start right after Super Bowl. And sure it did, right on time.
I told you so.
So you can pick up some very nicely remodeled homes, especially ones that even have furniture and such. And I just called them failed Airbnbs. It doesn't mean that they're not beautiful homes. It just they failed for whatever reason, mostly because the numbers didn't make sense. Now, tourism, that's also a big plus for us. We have seen a step up in tourism in the greater Phoenix area. Not only did we have the Super Bowl here this last year, but we also had the World Series. We're so proud of our team. And with the Suns, I'm pretty sure we're going to see some spectacular results in that and in the next couple of years anyways. And we continue to have spring training, which that is also growing out here with new fields. And we also have hockey that they're talking about building a new field. We have every major sports. And again, if that's something that's important to you, it's here in your hometown once you call Phoenix home. And whether you drive an hour to go to a football game, that's totally part of the adventure, right? You don't have to be right up against the arena. I'll tell you, living in the downtown Phoenix area or Glendale by Westgate, it's more than just a game. That's all I gotta say. Life is more than just a game, but if sports are your thing, you're probably like going, that girl's so wrong. There are so many things in the greater Phoenix area, and that continues to grow as well. We have beautiful trails. We have the most gorgeous freeways. I mean, you could just drive around town and it's stunning. It's breathtaking. We have mountains throughout the greater Phoenix area. It's so weird going to a city or a state that's flat and ugly. There's views everywhere here of something totally different. Boy, am I off key right there. All right, well, that's enough about tourism. We have a lot of tourism. Number 9, medical. You know, when a city grows so fast, a lot of the services start to suffer. And one of the things I have to say is the greater Phoenix area has seen more medical facilities jump into the equation over the last 10 years and are in full blown. We've already had 5 new hospitals in the last 10 years. And as of today, there are 3 new ones, 2 still under construction and more being planned. We are seeing new hospitals like in cities like Maricopa, just outside of Estrella Mountain Ranch in the Buckeye area, and in between Buckeye and Goodyear. We're also seeing more in Surprise. It is unbelievable, and every single hospital that we currently have seems to be expanding. The Chandler Regional Medical Center is like triple its size. We see Phoenix Children's Hospital opening up a new location out in Glendale. So if medical is important to you, whether it be now or that's the industry you're in, or you're thinking about long-term care, Phoenix is hard to beat. Number 10 is the cost of living, like all the other ancillary, like how are we being affected by everything else? Like we all know we've had inflation. So one of the big things that we did have a problem with was gas, and that was, you know, kind of a national kind of thing. We do have a very sensitive air quality issue. We don't have a lot of wind. We have a lot of pollution. And because we're the desert without wind, it just kind of sits there. So in order to minimize the poor quality, I don't know if that's the way you say it, of our air, the gas we burn, although it's 87 and 89 octane, it is a higher grade. So it is more expensive in the greater Phoenix area than other parts of the country. And I have to say that was pretty painful when it got really high. It was pretty darn close to California, but it is now subsided. At the time of this video, it's in the low $3 a gallon, but that means probably the national average is like $2.99. So we're always just a little bit more on that petroleum gasoline. Food costs, I think it depends on, again, where you live. Arizona is very progressive. When you talk about tech and innovation and being very tech forward, you see robots all over the place. We have self-driving cars. Did you know that? You can pull up next to your car, you're checking out, and there's no one in there. So in the grocery stores, we're seeing a lot more self-checkout. We're seeing that in Costco and Sam's Club. Sam's Club, you don't even have a self-checkout. You have an app that you beep, 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 beep as you go through the store, and you go out and they just double check your receipt with what you have in the cart. So Arizona is like super fast forward on that. So because we are able to control costs in that manner, I don't feel our groceries have gone up as many as some of the other areas. In fact, there's another YouTuber from Florida, and she's been posting on that mayonnaise in her city is $12 a bottle.
Are you crazy?
And today's rate for here in Phoenix at Target, it's $3.99. How is it compared to other cities? It is less expensive than most. We are super close to Los Angeles ports. The fact that we can import, export from our rail system, our freeway system, and many local airports in the greater Phoenix area, they are seeing more activity through Phoenix than they ever have before, and they are expanding Phoenix International Airport as well as our light rail to offload some of that traffic. Finally, we're getting to be like a big city. Oh, wait, that's right. We are a big city. I'm telling you, cost of living things, everything. Yes, my hair went up about 10%. My teeth, actually, I found a dentist. My dentist went from 175 down to 110. That seems expensive, doesn't it? But realtors, we don't have dental insurance. So there's better deals out there. But again, it depends on where you're coming from. And so we want to have that conversation with you. You just need to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Days, nights, or weekends. We can't wait to hear from you. I want all your questions. Write the comments below. If you have a burning question, chances are other people have the same question. Please help me help you.
Help me help you.
Help me help you. I want to help you. And you can help me by subscribing here. Just give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. These nights or weekends, we got your back when moving to Phoenix, Arizona, and I cannot wait to hear from you. Until next time, bye. See you. We don't have one of the highest hourly wages. That's a party, right? Raging party, rager.